Welcome back to The Square. I am your host, Curtis the Fifth.
And I'm Curtis the Fourth.
And we are again back talking football. This is going to be a staple week after week from now on as we gear up for training camp, literally days away now, with Pittsburgh and Dallas taking the field on the 21st. Hall of Fame game is happening on the 5th of August. Today is just the 19th of July, so, I mean, we are literally on the doorstep to football season. And we are going to continue our series of previewing and kind of giving an overview of each division here. Last week, we did the AFC East. This week, we're going to jump to the other conference, the NFC East, and talk about the NFC Least. Yeah, so before we dive into that, everybody, please, again, like, rate, and subscribe to this show. We want to continue to grow here, so sharing is always appreciated. And we will go ahead and dive right in. Oh, follow us on Twitter as well, at @_squarepod. Let's talk football. All right. Kind of basically same kind of thing that we did last week, kind of division winners, biggest additions and subtractions, and some key storylines. You want to get the elephant out of the room?
Which one is as far as division winner?
Yeah, Dallas anyway. Just talking Dallas.
Oh no.
Well, let's actually start with that. Who do you have winning this division?
Not Dallas.
Not Dallas either. I've seen so many different theories and thoughts on how this division is going to play out. A lot of them with Dallas ending up winning it for somehow getting to 10 wins.
Oh gosh.
Which I will attest, I do not have Dallas winning 10 games.
I do not either.
But at the end of the day, I took Washington.
And it holds, sir. Yes. I got Washington is, of course, the division winner.
All right. Well, I think that it is. I believe in their defense, which Dallas clearly does not have. And before Dak went down last year.
No, I agree. And I don't think much changed in the division. I mean, there's been changes, but as far as positioning with these four teams, ain't much hasn't changed. It's like, okay, Washington. Yeah. I'll go Dallas next.
Yeah, I took Dallas second, and I took New York third. Philadelphia, you are not even a discussion to me.
I actually took Philadelphia over there.
Really?
Yes, and I even have Philadelphia higher on my power ranking.
Well, let's talk about Philadelphia first then, because that's interesting.
Okay.
Where do you see Philadelphia pulling out more wins? Let me renege on that question. What do you think Philadelphia is adding that is valuable to more wins?
Nothing overly significant. However, I just you had me trying to explain a bad team in a good element. This is very difficult to do.
Well, so then is it more because of Philadelphia, or is it more because of New York sucks?
We can go into New York sucks, but man, these two teams are horrible. and for some reason, I just have a redeeming quality just to say that Philadelphia has a little wherewithal sense right now at this current stage of where we are in the NFL to be just a little bit better than them. And New York is like the Detroit Lions of the NFC East. They have this, when they're good, but when they are bad, they have a choking element, a just lose badly element.
Yeah.
That's just, they have not did anything different. They had got some shiny toys and put it in the window. I'm just sorry. Kenny Galladay didn't do it for me. It just didn't. Now, I'm a little bit more higher on their number 20th pick, that Mr. Unknown guy, Mr. Underdog himself.
Kadarius Toney?
Yeah. I'm like just by the reports. I'm a little curious about him.
I'm curious, but I don't see what everybody else is seeing.
What I'm saying is, hell, I wouldn't be surprised in this kind of scenario if. And it's just me. I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not making any hard take here. That this dude actually outperforms, Galladay throughout the season based on just how on gameplay. Is he better than Galladay? Hell no, not even close. I said back way back when he made the signing. I think this is just a bad fit for him. because he left a bad team and went to a slightly better team, which is bad still. It's still a bad team, and at a bad stage. I mean, he can be that piece that helps turn the ship. But when the ship turns, your career will be about done, and they're gonna move on. So,
well, let's get back to
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
But with the Philadelphia thing, I not a super hard take. I think they just are slightly a little bit better than New York. New York has, man, they in a complete rebuild.
But I think Philadelphia is too.
I think Philadelphia needs to be in one. They just haven't gotten there yet. Now with that, they can add a few different pieces and it can be better in general. Now they lost Carson Wentz. If they want to do the Jalen Hurts project, great, fine.
Time out. They did not lose Carson Wentz. They shipped Carson Wentz right out the door.
Lose them, ship them. Look, I'm not a Carson Wentz fan. I questioned you keeping them in the first place. I told you when Nick Foles we won a Super Bowl. Keep Nick Foles, trade Carson Wentz right now. You're like, no, bring him back, and he could do. Yeah, he could do all those things, but he didn't.
but I gave a very clear explanation as to why it didn't happen because they kept Nick Foles. You had to get, and it doesn't even matter if you get rid of Carson Wentz or you get rid of Nick Foles. They had to choose one, and they didn't, and that's where they effed up.
That's fine. It wasn't handled well. No matter what the scenario was, Carson Wentz wasn't the answer. That's in my opinion. It just wasn't the answer.
I mean, and I have firsthand experience. Nick Foles wasn't either.
I didn't say he was. I just know Carson Wentz wasn't. And
well, we're about to see with Indianapolis, but that's not about Carson Wentz.
Right, it's not about Carson
about Philadelphia.
But like I was saying, we'll see what the Jalen Hurts experiment is. But it just, for what I'm looking at, it just seems to be more upside coming from the Eagles aspect. Not much upside. It's just, like I said, if I had to pick one or the other, I just think Philadelphia's going to be just a tad bit better this year. Not saying much. But
well, I'm just looking at the additions.
Now, it's them falling in last. I don't have a hard take like, oh my God, how could you not put New York at the? No, it's. It's just when I looked at both of them.
This whole division can be in last place for all I care.
And that's what I'm getting at. Yeah, hell.
One of them's got to go to the playoffs.
At the bottom. And should we really be surprised that Washington just fell off this year? I'm not saying that they will. Nothing even pointing to that direction.
But the only reason why I have Washington so high is because I do truly believe in their defense. And at the end of the day, Ryan Fitzpatrick, even though he is not the greatest quarterback since sliced bread, he is not the worst quarterback of all time. He's better than Mitch Trubisky, so I think he can get you some wins. So that's where I'm at with their situation, and we'll talk about Washington and Dallas in a minute. But just looking at the additions from Philadelphia, the only key adds that they have are Devontae Smith, the rookie wide receiver, Ryan Kerrigan, the defensive end, and Joe Flacco as a backup quarterback, which is their most important position in Philadelphia for some reason. So at the end of the day, like, that offense and even their defense, for that matter, I have no clear outlook on where they're going to be better by any means for any of this throughout this entire season.
Right.
And then you lost Corey Clement, who was he was a pretty key gadget player for them.
Right.
And you also lose Deshaun Jackson, who is your lifelong wide receiver there.
Right.
So that's more veterans and more experience that you're losing in the locker room as well for a young team with a young quarterback who did not look good last year to me. I get it. Yes,
he was thrown out there.
Yes, he was thrown out there. Plus, everybody was injured as well, so there is that key as well. But I don't see the guys coming back. I mean, Travis Fulgham was their best wide receiver last year when they were healthy.
Right.
So, an undrafted rookie free agent that you're bringing in to be your best wide receiver, that's a kid who you were expecting to come back healthy and save Philadelphia. I don't see it.
This is a weird, and I get it, and I agree. This is a weird division.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's going to be an underachieving division. Good football is going to be played within it at times, but when it comes to wins and losses, it's not going to look good. It's just, this is going to be another low winning division this year. And I don't have them at high wins at all. It's just, I think it's going to be really close. And I just think it's just like,
I'm going to just get this out of the way right now.
Right.
I have Washington winning the division. Like I said, I have them below 500.
Whoa. Okay.
And but
Whoa.
let's
Okay. Whoa.
so we'll get into that in a second.
Matrix. Miss me
Uh,
with that. What?
yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Now let's talk
did
the
say
Giants a little bit.
I got
Let's
you.
talk the
It's
Giants
fine.
for a second here.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody's thoughts on the Giants this year is what the hell is Daniel Jones going to be this year? Is that not the question that first comes to mind when it comes to the New York Giants?
Has to be.
Yeah, so there's that, and then Saquon Barkley is returning. So,
did you see reports today?
No.
Oh,
Did I miss something big?
he did.
Oh no.
He did.
Did Saquon Barkley get injured again?
No, he didn't get injured per se.
Oh, is it? Oh, are you talking about him being maybe not ready for Week 1?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I did see that.
That's big.
It is, but to me, I'm like, I didn't expect him to be ready for Week 1 in the first place. So when people saw this story come out, I was like, I expected him to probably be slow for the first month of the season.
They never said that.
I know they didn't. I said that when I initially saw when I've been doing all of my research for New York in this division as a whole. I was doing all of this under the impression that you're gonna have a less than average Saquon Barkley for the first month of the season. That's just me. So I wasn't really shocked by this report because I expected it.
Our witnesses came out in the beginning.
Because they're keeping everything under wraps. They don't want.
What is there to gain by now releasing it now, as opposed to not releasing it earlier?
I don't know. I don't. Again, I don't think New York is the best organization by any means. I get why.
You want to know why they're at the bottom? I didn't even feel like he was coming at me with anything. I'm like, really? I mean,
Yeah.
like, okay. As we talk, it all just unfolded itself. It's just they're a mess. But go ahead.
But I think Saquon's eventually going to be back to somewhat healthy. Now, if he can stay healthy, I know that's one of your big things about this kid is hey, you got one big injury under your belt now. Is this going to continue? That is a definite question for sure. I'm hoping, because I do think that he has a lot of talent. I'm hoping to see him back to his regular form, because I wanted to see him have some sort of like an AP return, because having good running backs in the league is always going to be nice. They're never going to get paid. That's a whole nother conversation, but hey. But yeah, so him being out for probably not even out, just not himself for the first month, again, expected to me, but they don't have a tough schedule in the first place. So you're adding Kenny Golladay. You're got more running back power in Corey Clement coming over as well. Now, you lost Alvin Tomlinson. You lost Kyler Fackrell. You lost Kevin Zeitler. So there's a lot of issues on this team. There's a lot of holes on this team, but that's why I have them in third place.
Okay.
I do think that they can get wins, and this is also, I'm expecting Daniel Jones to take some sort of a step forward. I'm not saying he's having a breakout year or anything like that. This is not some outlandish take or anything like that. No. I just don't think that he's going to be god-awful. I don't think he's going to be the worst quarterback in the league. I don't think he was last year.
Okay.
So I think with average, at best, QB play, this roster has enough, especially with Saquon getting back hopefully in October, full health. I think that they can win games running the offense through Saquon Barkley when he's healthy.
What about that trash defense, though?
That's why I don't have them winning too many games. This
is why they're 25 on my power ranking. I know that really the story is the offense, but I just don't think this offense, with the defense for where they really are ranked in the league, this offense is not good enough. I'm like,
no, it's not.
Best efforts. Not even close. It's just, this is gonna go south fast. And and for some reason, I just think Philadelphia can weather the storm a little bit better.
Yeah,
and just finish just a slight tad better than them. I just don't, But if I'm slightly off by two games or 3 games, it's the NFC East.
Yeah,
whatever the case, they won't be a second or first. I know that. How about that?
No, yeah, I agree. I do not expect the Giants to be anywhere near the top of this division.
Sleep about whether they finish 3rd or 4th in the division. Doesn't matter. They won't be in the playoffs, so it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how one NBA NFL player goes into the league into the season knowing you're not going to the playoffs. I mean, don't give me that. You never know. Really, dude. Look at these rosters.
Yeah, they're not good, and that's why I have them at the bottom. I agree with you. They could be flip flop turned either way with Philadelphia.
Right.
It's just I don't see Philadelphia.
And that's fine. It's almost. I think it's good that we even came to this conclusion. Like I think it can be seen both ways, really.
Yeah.
But that's what I said. I don't even have a hard take. I'm like, hell, I could see me over predicting this. I didn't take a hard stance on it. It was just like, if I had to, give me that in Philadelphia. You know, it's crapshoot. You know, like man, we talking these guys in my 20s in the power rankings. I mean, I don't have high expectations for y'all.
No, not at all. Let's talk about the teams that could possibly win the division.
There we go.
After
we talked about the painful.
Yeah. After we talk about the ugly, let's talk about the bad. By no means is there any good in this division.
Gosh.
No, it just man, where do you want to start? Washington or Dallas?
You. Take it away.
Let's get Dallas out of the way. I don't want to dwell on them too much. I guess Dak is back. I'm happy to see Dak is going to be back. I mean the videos that he's putting out in his workouts. Hey, he's my quarterback on my fantasy team, so I do want to see good things out of him. No, but taking fantasy aside, taking betting aside, let's talk football here. This roster is trash. Now, I will say, Micah Parsons, Dallas is interesting to me only because their rookie Micah Parsons is very interesting to see. I know I think they have tied for the most new rookies on their roster with the Minnesota Vikings, but this roster, you didn't need a linebacker. You had Jalen Smith, you had a Leighton Vander Esch. Why do you need to add another linebacker? You don't really. But Micah Parsons is to me he was the best prospect in the entire draft. Right. So, hey, you got the best available. Cool. But then you also go out and you get Keanu Neal, safety. Poached him from Atlanta from the depths of ineptitude on the defensive end. I think he was the one good thing on Atlanta's defense last year. So getting him over there, I think that was a huge upgrade for their safety position. But then you go out and you don't re-sign your only good corner in Chidobe Awuzie. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a tit for tat type of thing where you still have a crappy defense. Where like you got a great prospect in Micah Parsons who isn't really going to help you because you already have pretty good linebackers, and your defensive backs suck, and you just replaced a good one for a good one. That's it. Mm-hmm. So to me, Dallas is in the same position that they were last year. You have a high-powered offense.
And lost their bishop.
Yep.
Like, okay.
You have a high-powered offense with a defense that is going to get scored on every single drive. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a field goal or if it's a touchdown, I'm expecting them to be the worst-rated defense in the NFL next year. And that is the reason why they won't win this division.
Worse than Houston?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, it's all in Texas.
The reason why is because the Texans' issues are mainly up front in the front seven, which this is not a run-first league. Dallas's issues are in the back end, on the defensive back end, and you have 2 linebackers and 3 linebackers now that really play more. Well, I guess it's kind of 50-50. Some of them play rush defense, and the other ones are more drop back in coverage, like Micah Parsons. But Micah Parsons can do both, so you kind of gotten some sort of an element there with Micah Parsons. I do think it was a great pick for them. I'm not going to say after you lost out on the 2 great corners, J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain in the draft, Micah Parsons was your best option there, and it's not a bad option to go with. I'm not bashing them for taking Micah Parsons by no means.
Well, they lost their pick when there was a little shake-up there at the end of
the beginning of the first round.
Yeah, into the first 10 picks.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, Dallas is just in a really crappy situation. That defense is just that freaking bad. I don't expect them to, like, at the beginning of the season, those first 5 games where Dak was there, they were scoring 40 points a game. They were giving up 52 points a game. Like you just can't keep pace. And yes, you got another year under CeeDee Lamb's belt. You have another year under that receiving core. But I just don't think that's going to translate into enough wins, especially with Dak still getting his legs under him.
No, I agree. Like they don't have them monumentally moving the needle in the win-loss column either. But it's just they're gonna have this really interesting offense that's gonna be really like the Miami Dolphins of the 90s and the 80s night Miami Dolphins teams, 4.0 over here. They're just going to have a souped up version where it's going to be like just so-called high-powered offense where with no little to no defense whatsoever.
Yeah.
A very weird conundrum that you see in the NFL, but it does exist throughout the time and history of time, and now it's starting to repeat itself here in Dallas. And it was like, how could you be so offensively top heavy and just bottom basement when it comes to the defense? Like the defense is almost non-existent.
Yeah, it's horrible. Like this is the most lopsided team I've seen. They've spent all of their money on the offensive end, and they try to build within the draft with these picks. And you've hit on the linebackers. You drafted Jalen Smith. You drafted Leighton Vander Esch. You drafted Micah Parsons. Get some freaking DBs. And yes, Keanu Neal. I actually really, he's one of my favorite defensive backs in the league. Mm-hmm. Keanu Neal is. I'm probably the only person who's really watched him outside of Atlanta, because nobody cares about Atlanta's defense. But I have watched him, and he can play. He is he can play free safety, strong safety, wherever you want him. He's very flexible, and I really like that.
Have him listed as a linebacker.
Keanu Neal?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess they're probably putting him at strong safety then. Because I know they list him as a linebacker, but strong safeties play that nickel linebacker a lot, so I think that's why they put him in that position. Okay. So he's not really. He's more of the Ed Reed type, or sorry, he's more of the Troy Polamalu type than the Ed Reed type.
Okay.
Ed Reed flied around in the backfield, getting picks everywhere, and then he'll lay the smack on you. But then Troy Polamalu was basically a glorified fast linebacker.
Right, he'd be right up on the line.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's where the kind of difference between free safety and strong safety is. So if they're saying he's a strong safety, then they got another linebacker then. So so then you just lost Chidobe Awuzie, and now you have literally a worse corner or a defensive back core than you did last year, and you guys gave up all the yards last year on the defensive back end. So man, that's. Where I'm at a loss for words. I just don't. How is that translating into how is Dallas going to be the winner of this? I don't see how people keep saying Dallas is a hands down winner of this division.
No,
I just don't see it.
I think what's happening is just this romanticized small sample size that we got to see Dak Prescott play last year. Mm-hmm. And when you translate that little moment, that little microcosm of a moment, and you translate it and fast forward it to the opponent being a Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
That's where this comes from. It's just because people can't see past the Fitz magic, Well, but that being said, I'm not even a fan of this guy. But if he has not proved anything else, he has proved that, man, he's an efficient game manager, and he can get it done. So, in this division,
but even if you can't see past Ryan Fitzpatrick, going back to that little microcosm that we had last year,
yeah,
that didn't translate into any wins. They had 0 wins at the time.
That's what I'm saying. You're absolutely right, and that's what I wasn't even getting there. I'm like, you absolutely right. It didn't even matter because, hell, I mean,
he played fantastic, but they still didn't win games.
And because of fantasy, I didn't get caught up in it because I was able to be grounded because it was just affecting me. But the point being was, dude, we can't ignore what's happening here. This team is bad.
Yes.
It's like this is not a good team. They have some very good pieces, but with that defense being that bad, it really puts a strain on this offense to the point of y'all have to play near perfect just to be really competitive in the game. I ain't say to win the game, just to be competitive.
To
Now
even
can
be
they
within
win
2
games?
possessions.
Sure, because there's gonna be some teams that's gonna help them win games because they're gonna just not have it that day.
And I do think Dak
they,
is worth quite a few wins. Dak is
yes,
that good.
this
I like
offense
Dak.
alone can get you. It can get you some wins.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna position you to be a serious. That alone is not gonna position you to be a serious playoff contender. That's
Not at all.
And let alone and this troublesome division, that's definitely not going to help you in your division, because when it definitely comes down to y'all dropping these games, these division games are going to be detrimental to one another.
Another stat that I have that's probably going to, this one definitely probably isn't going to pan out, but what I've seen from what I'm looking at, I have everybody splitting in this division.
Interesting.
Like, I don't see, like, even Washington, I don't see them going on the road into Philadelphia and winning.
They got a point. I
know defense travels, I know run game travels, but at the end of the day, we are in a pass-happy league.
Yeah, this division is like a stalemate division. It's just
whoever makes it into the playoffs is getting knocked out round 1. Again,
I can see that. Yeah, they just gonna drop their home game. Like it was nice,
and we'll talk about. Hopefully soon we'll be able to do an episode on this, but I think that's one of the rules that really needs to change in the NFL. Winning a division means nothing. I'm sorry, you winning a division should get you a playoff berth. It for damn sure should not get you a home playoff game.
I agree. If they want to still show the validity to divisions, because at the end of the day, you could have took out the aspect that divisions didn't have to be necessarily integral to where you place in the playoffs, as opposed to just you
win your division, you get a playoff.
It should
be as simple as that.
It's just based on just the fact of region.
Yeah.
That you actually put the right regional players. That's why you're divided over here, just based on where you are. Not we got these makeshift rivalries we created over the course of time, and now here we are. Now we got to even make it further and complicate that. Now we're gonna compound it where we're gonna give a division winner a home playoff game where you might rank worse than other teams in the conference. Like,
yeah,
does that make any kind of mathematical sense to anybody? I'm like, that's why are we giving this designated handicap spot, and it's a handicapper. It's just like. Yeah. We just giving this designated playoff spot, like to here comes the little. No, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say. Be insensitive over here on the line. Okay, moving on. But it's they moving forward.
Yeah, I don't see, like, again, Dallas got worse. Yes, you're getting Dak back. That is a massive win for you. But you got worse defensively, and when you had Dak last year, that sample size showed me that having a fantastic offense, or not even a fantastic offense, sorry, you had a good offense last year.
Mm-hmm.
You were putting up points. You're like that Atlanta game. That was the only game that you won with Dak, based off of Atlanta making a huge egregious mistake on an onside kick. The only reason why you won that game, but because your defense was giving up so many points. Like, easily, I feel like in that stretch, it was about 40 to 50 points a game that they were giving up.
Right.
And you don't see that in the NFL nowadays.
No.
Even in a time of just pass-happy football, 40 points a game, are you kidding me? That's insane.
You don't see it. You don't.
That's 10 points a quarter.
You don't even see the worst defenses bottom out like that.
No.
This is.
They'll have a bend mentality, but defenses do not break that way, and that's because they literally cannot stop a single thing over the top. Those defensive backs are that bad. So I mean, and again, I like Dak. I don't really like Dallas. Let me rephrase that. I'm unbiased to Dallas. I feel like I look at Dallas for what they are. I've been going on a rant for the last 3 years saying that they're not America's team because they don't win, but that's just based off of sure what I'm watching on the field. Why is this America's team? Like, this team isn't good. Like, and it's not because I hate Jerry Jones or I hate Dallas. Like, I don't give a damn who it is. This could be Chicago for all I care. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm very biased towards Chicago and my love for them, but I'm very honest about what they are. And I'm saying right here, right now, Dallas, sorry, you're not it. You're not going to the playoffs. And if you do, it's going to be off of some sheer luck. It is not off of anything that you're going to do.
Okay.
So let's talk about who we do think is going to win the division then. The first placed, air quotes there, guys, with Washington football team here, which let's first start off. I will have to give some credence to the NFL for forcing, again, air quotes there, forcing Daniel Snyder to resign. But I will say, NFL, that was weak. This man is a sex offender and I'm going to take a hard stance. This dude needs to be out of the league. He should not own an NFL team. And I'm saying that as Curtis V, not as a square entity or anything like that. This is solely Curtis V's opinion. Daniel Snyder needs to go. This man, for him to be able to sell his rights to the team to his wife and have his wife take over the team so his face isn't in the building, but he's still getting paid.
Loophole of loopholes.
NFL, that is the weakest stance I've ever seen. And that to me, honestly, that's worse than the Ray Rice situation.
I mean, and that you have strong take, and you got valid points.
I'm not even gonna
right.
If you want to get into it, we can, but I'm gonna leave it at that. That is my opinion.
Not really. That could be an episode unto itself.
All right. Well, let's talk football then.
Yeah.
Now,
the other stuff going on in football.
I think for Washington, this team epitomizes the question of, does defense really win championships or championship titles or division titles in that case? Because this team is all defense in a serviceable offense if they can stay healthy. That's my thing. Like, I don't think this offense can stay healthy. Everybody on this offense, every key member of this offense outside of Ryan Fitzpatrick has been injured for extended amounts of time. I know the rookie running back, Antonio Gibson, his second year is coming up, and so fine. That's a small sample size, but still.
A.D. McKissick wasn't hurt. He was an integral part of the offense last week. It ain't a great move, but I'm just going to give you some bombshell name, but he was very efficient and he was very healthy last year.
I mean,
I wish he got hurt last year. He was killing my guy, man.
Their key adds, obviously, Ryan Fitzpatrick, huge addition at quarterback. Curtis Samuel at wide receiver. Huge. That's massive. And then Charles Leno, they got him quiet as kept. They snagged him at the end of the free agency. Still
skip
going
over
on.
My man Adam Humphries like that. The prototypical number 3. Wherever he goes, he's the number 3 guy.
It won't matter. He's going to be the number 1 guy once Terry McLaurin gets injured.
Why Curtis Samuel got to be hurt? I mean, he hurt now.
I'm not saying that.
He hurt now, but why he got to be hurt?
He's hurt.
He got a big questionable.
His feelings are hurt.
He got a big Q next to his name. What that stand for?
Is he questionable already?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Right. See, it's a Washington thing.
No, it's not a Washington thing.
He wasn't hurt in Carolina
thing because Kyle Allen got a Q too.
No, that is 100% a Washington thing because Kyle Allen and Curtis Samuel were career Ironmen, or career Kyle Allen, in Carolina.
We're just making the point that they both came from there.
No, but they ended up losing also Morgan Moses, the right tackle. So you add a tackle to lose a tackle. You lose Alex Smith. I think that's actually bigger than anything else. Alex Smith, I think, really was the glue that held Washington together last year, and we can talk about
Right,
that
and
in
the
a
backlash of bringing Kyle Allen back.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did not like that. I think Washington kind of missed on the quarterback moves here. And then you lost Ryan Kerrigan as well, and I think that's huge because Ryan Kerrigan is a veteran. He's a leader of that defense for one, but two, he went in division. You're going to see him twice this year. So that's even. I think that was just a bad move by Washington. Two back-to-back bad moves by Washington with losing Alex Smith and having him retire, and Ryan Kerrigan leaving as well.
Yeah, and I mean, they got some serviceable draft picks, but we'll see what that remains to be seen for right now. But, yeah. Wow. You couldn't have said it more better than when they missed on the quarterbacks, because this is basically what I was seeing, what I thought was about to happen in Chicago. And this is not a knock to Ryan Fitzpatrick, but when you have I know when we all have done it, we make a short list, and toward the end of our list, we have certain names, but then it's every so often on that short list, we'll put that last name on there just in the pinch if I have to go with this guy.
Yeah,
that was Ryan Fitzpatrick, and it's I almost want to say what Chicago pulled off is what Washington was trying to pull with their quarterbacks. I'm even talking about Andy Dalton. We beat him to the punch. Most people like throw Andy Dalton away. Well, if I had to choose between Ryan Fitzpatrick and Andy Dalton,
I'm taking Andy Dalton.
I think I'm gonna take it. I wanted Andy Dalton last year when we missed out on Cam Newton.
That is true. I do remember us having that conversation.
And people was talking about, well, did you see what Andy Dalton did? Yeah. Did you see that damn team last year? I'm like, his numbers came out pretty damn good at the end of that when it was all said and done, considering what he was up against. He didn't have much to work with.
No.
But I'm not sitting there saying that he's going to be leaps and boundaries in Chicago, because now he has to learn a whole new offense, and I'm not going down there. But I'm just saying that I don't expect him to have leaps and bounds. He's going to be making all these leaps and bounds, but Ryan Fitzpatrick is fine. It's just not that. It's not that guy if you have him, you just like, man, I feel so. You don't get those warm tinglies. It's just like, okay, if he's on, we're good. But if he's off, you know what I'm saying? We just got whoever we got.
And I'll say that the Chicago situation in context with Washington is completely different, because Andy Dalton is for sure upgrade from Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles. I think we all agree on that. Yeah. No matter what, we will have better quarterback play, even if we don't play Justin Fields.
No, but the other component was that Washington wanted Justin Fields as well. They were just saying we beat them to the punch with both quarterbacks, where they had to settle for Ryan Fitzpatrick and bringing Kyle Allen back,
and I get that.
Be our Nick Foles situation.
Yeah. Well, we still have him on the roster. I know we're trying to trade him, but
any Washington fan should be saying we still got Kyle Allen on the roster. Yeah. That's all I was getting at. I'm just making a comparison. Not saying it's the same thing. It's just very similar.
No, but what I was going to say is if you're comparing the Andy Dalton specifically and the Ryan Fitzpatrick as this same-ish thing,
you're right.
Yes, Andy Dalton is a clear upgrade for us in Chicago, even if we don't play Justin Fields this year, which, again, we'll get into the NFC North in a few episodes down the road. But with that, Andy Dalton is a clear upgrade from our last year's quarterbacks. Like, that's hands down. There's no question there. We will have better quarterback play with Andy Dalton on the roster. Washington, Ryan Fitzpatrick to me is not better than Alex Smith. I think Alex Smith had for the short stint we got to see him last year. Mm-hmm. He played much better football, and he's the reason why I think they even had a shot at winning the division, and they eventually did win the division, is because they played with Alex Smith, and they were just like, well, damn, I thought we'd throw him out there and we were giving up the season, but he went out there and won us the damn division. I think they were trying to tank last year, and they thought that Alex Smith was going to be the key to tanking, but Alex Smith is that good.
Yeah, and, in his exit, he said, they didn't see things eye to eye. They wished him well, and they sent them. Then you see all the stuff is coming out of this Washington organization. They had a lot of skeletons, and they're cleaning house right now. So, now the field and the players, seemingly there it hasn't really spilled over into that area, but everything else about the organization has just been in question right
Mm-hmm.
now. So
I think Curtis Samuel is a nice first step because hopefully he can get healthy for before the season and everything will be good there. Because Curtis Samuel, I think he's underrated as hell as a number 2 wide receiver. He is fantastic to me.
yeah, I mean, but then but considering the skill sets of a Teddy Bridgewater and how they were running the offense,
yeah,
it limits
his ability. I mean, he really does depend on what the hell the quarterback does.
Now, Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't know how much of an upgrade.
I think it's linear.
I was going to just say, is this the lateral move?
Yeah.
Just like, okay, just a slightly different skill set, same kind of results type of thing. But Curtis Samuel is going to get some of that, Allen Robinson treatment. Like, you're just never probably going to play with an elite.
But is he the number 1? I mean, because I still think if a healthy Terry McLaurin is still, I think, a very valuable guy to have. He's a Tyreek Hill light.
I was gonna say this might be that poor man's version of the whole Jarvis Landry.
Oh, Odell Beckham.
I'm trying to lead with him, but I can't even say his name. It's almost like a poor version of that. And I'm not saying that this is they're poor, but you know what I'm saying, a step, a tier 2 version of that, where you really got 2 number 1s. Now, not necessarily high number 1s, but they middle of the road to, if there's a top 10, here's your 8, 9, 10 guys, and that's fine. It's just they're not your top 5 or 6 guys, and that's, but these they both have number 1 potential is what I'm saying. But could they have a number 2 wide receiver performance at the end of the year? Possibly, because you have to still think about efficiency of the rest of the offense. Is the run game going to improve? Is it going to take away from the passing game? Is the offensive line going to be able to hold up where this is even relevant in the first place? You know what I'm saying? Where this looks good right here, just looking at this, this list, but how is it going to look when I put all this out on the field?
Yeah.
Y'all look like a band of misfits, so y'all going to look like a team that's really looking to make another playoff push, and that's, I'm not going to say it remains to be seen. We obviously picked them to win the division. It's just how well was this look at the end of the year? Like, will y'all be one of these low ranking, like I said, honorary playoff teams going in?
I do think so, because I have them. You have to win. Somebody has to win the division, and I have them at 8 and 9.
Wow, and I have them at 10 and 7.
Really? Okay. I mean, that's not too far off.
No. I started at 9, and I just kept going over it and going over it, and I pushed them up to 10 wins. It's like, I think y'all can. I'm saying,
was there a specific game that you were like, I don't see them losing that one?
I was a couple I was teetering back. Okay. It's because I got these. I can kind of see you dropping. It's not even one of those. You look at a hardcore. Yes, win, loss. I'll be looking at like 6 of these games. Like, I watch too much NFL.
I could see you losing that game. I could see you winning that one.
The variations of these 6, I'm like, I can see this going the opposite. This is not going to be the consensus pick. And I'm like,
well, that's funny because
too much of that.
Well, so I have such a fluid, like, I have Washington anywhere from 8 to 10. I put them at 8 and 9 because it's the lower end of it, and I don't, even with those 50-50 games, I'm just like, I can't give you the benefit of the doubt with Ryan Fitzpatrick to win those games.
Games, man, he got a Tebow-ish.
But going back on it, I have Dallas anywhere from 6 to 9 games. So I still have them at 8 and 9 as well, fluidly. And I have the Giants anywhere from 5 to 7 wins.
Interesting.
So I'm just sitting in a position where, like, Dallas actually could end up winning this, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for sure the Giants could get close. I think that they might be in the mix at the end of the year, but I think they're one of the teams that have like 5 straight divisional games at the end of the season, and that's just, I don't see how Daniel Jones is going to duke that out.
Gotcha.
So I think that they're going to be in a situation where it's like, okay, we need to just win our division to get in, and they're just going to get pummeled on these road games in division late in the season. Team's probably not going to be anywhere near as healthy as they need to be. I mean, you got to also remember, guys, this is an 18-week schedule, a 17-game schedule.
Right.
Still only have one bye week. This is going to be a war of attrition this year.
Mhm.
So, like, these teams with these suspect rosters, this entire division is in these 50-50 games, especially late in the season, you also have to take into account these teams are not going to be healthy. Like, there's too many variables working against the NFC East this year where I just don't see how any of these teams are going to be in the running to make a real significant playoff push this year.
Wow, and their last 5 division games are all divisional games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're going to play in division, which is already hard enough. And I think half of them are on the road, correct? All three? Like, they have 3 road divisional games to wrap up the season?
3 out of 5.
Yep. And you're an 18-week schedule. Like, this is going to be, you're going to be dead tired at this point of the year.
They have a putrid. Oh my God, this schedule is horrible.
Yeah. So it's
Buffalo,
it's
Atlanta,
not easy.
New Orleans, Kansas City, Green Bay, Denver.
Denver sucks, so I think they might win that one.
Denver.
So I still think they might win. Denver's bad.
I'm saying, but
We'll talk about the AFC West
Denver.
soon.
You know, a mile high, the air's thin. Mid-season, these guys. I'm just saying, these guys ain't always up for that. And then they get a week off just to lick their wounds, but just to now face Tampa. And then they get to go to Carolina for this epic revenge game. And, oh my God, yeah, well, at least the Bears are not alone. Gosh.
Yeah, there's a lot of tough schedules, but the Bears keep just getting effed over, and we still year after year have one of the hardest schedules, right. Top 10 hardest schedules in the league. I've never understood that. But I mean, is there anything else in this division that you wanted to discuss really quick?
I'm just giving off my quick run-off makeshift predictions here, and I had Washington, and I said I had them low. Didn't know you had them lower, but
I told you I have them under 500.
When I seen it, I'm like, whoa, okay, because at that point I had Washington at 10-7,
yeah,
at Dallas at 9-8, at Philadelphia at eking in a 7-10 record, you know. And then New York at 5-12.
7-10 for Philadelphia. That's
I know. I'm swinging.
I mean, I have them at 6-11.
I'm swinging. I know. I felt it was a bit of a stretch. I just thought they was gonna have this small cushion on New York. Like they weren't gonna be like one game at them.
Okay.
This 17 game is throwing me off.
Yeah.
It's just okay. If you throw an extra game out there, okay, that's an extra win or extra loss for somebody. You know, it's an extra game. That's what I'm playing around with the numbers anyway. It could be plus minus one either direction for me at this point, just based on that one game. But I think the variations of the margin of wins and losses as to where they ranking in that division, I think is really a game or two here. I'm one game behind you there. It's not going to be like just super top heavy division winners and just three doormat teams sitting at the bottom of the division.
Yeah.
No, I'm like. Yeah, 4 versus 1 is not going to necessarily be close, but the first top 3, I mean, it's just going to be whoever. They all would have had an opportunity to take the division at some point.
Yeah.
You're saying it's going to be New York. I'm saying it's going to be Philadelphia. I don't even care if I'm wrong. It just, because I can't never get a read on Philadelphia anyway. It's very easy to say I don't think they're going to do anything, and they keep doing stuff. It's just like I have to look beyond what I'm seeing because they're a very unattractive team to me. And it's just, doing analysis on it, it's just rough. It's just like, oh my gosh, man.
Going back to Philadelphia really quickly here, I did have this question about them. Because I know you said you think that they should be, but I do think that they are in a rebuild.
Okay.
Either way, 2 years removed, I guess 3 years now, removed from a Super Bowl. Have we ever seen a team go into a full-on rebuild that quickly? Is there anyone from the top of your head that you can think of that fast within the 3-year span from winning the Super Bowl? You're hoisting the Lombardi Trophy in February. 3 years later, you're talking about, man, we got to move up to QB. We just fired our head coach. We need to retool everything.
It wasn't in that nature. Maybe I'm not necessarily accurate, but it started with almost a dismantlement. But I was gonna say the Bears, and as soon as they won the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden they just started dismantling the defenses. They started shoveling pieces off left and right, and I'm like, what are you doing? And so over the next course of the next 2 years, they were virtually just a shell of themselves, and then they were trying. Then they was getting rid of Buddy Ryan, the defensive coordinator, and then it eventually led up to Mike. It was just over a series of time, but it may have extended over beyond 3 years. But it started immediately after that first year. But that's in a very exaggerated version. That's what I'm saying. That's maybe the closest thing I could think off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Closest, and I don't even know fully if that's the greatest example of that I can use, but that's what came to mind. I don't.
Okay.
It just happened.
I mean, to me, I mean, I definitely knew about the dismantlement. I thought to me again, this is before I was 10 years before me, so I did not get to witness this.
Right.
But I do know that we broke it up after that 85 run. I thought it took longer than that, but that's just
That's
me.
what I'm saying. It extended over years because it was just piece by piece. They just kept doing it year after year. It was like this extended addition by subtraction.
Because this is the fastest I've seen. Because I
probably was
like, this is just insane that you're a team that literally is sitting you're on the top of the world in 2017, 2018, that offseason. And boom, on a flip of a switch, you just immediately are now just the doormat of the league. Or one of. Houston definitely holds that title right now.
Yeah, because Denver didn't do it, and New England definitely didn't do it. No, I'm going back, and I'm just like, I don't really, not a Super Bowl winning
Maybe
team.
Baltimore with Joe Flacco? But Joe Flacco was even there for so much longer than that.
Right, and I was going.
And Harbaugh's still there. So yeah,
I'm thinking 2000 when you said that. I'm like, he wasn't. That was different.
No, I thought about 13.
Yeah. No, they didn't change it significantly.
Like they literally have your core pieces, quarterback and coach, gone.
It was weird, and I mean there was this whole cleaning house thing, but it's another contribute to this division, man. These four franchises are uniquely in some very dark, questionable places right now in the NFL and decision making, and franchise processes and so on and so forth. It's just, what are y'all doing over here? It's baffling to me.
And they got the head coach that they hired. I think is that Sirianni over there? I don't remember who it was, but man, I have no read on him. Like, that's one of the only new head coaches that it's here for this season that I just have no idea what to expect from him. So that's why I'm just like, Philadelphia, that's why I feel like they're in a full-fledged rebuild. Like, even though, yes, you have what you think is your franchise quarterback moving forward in Jalen Hurts, I still don't know that, and I feel like you guys still don't know that. You're just saying it because it sounds better than, oh, we're in a rebuild and we're just trotting out what we have for now until we figure out what the hell we're going to do next.
The only reason why I don't say that in a rebuild is because really until they start declaring it and you start seeing seriously, them making serious moves, not just doing the status quo, we got draft picks, we just going to go to the draft and we'll just get and tool this. And what are you tooling? You lost.
Polish a turd, it's still a turd.
Most of the offense was gone through contracts, expiring contracts and people you needed to get off the books, and it was time to turn the page anyway. It's kind of like you just had a team that expired on you. Really, that's why I'm saying they're not really rebuilding, and that's problematic because I'm like, you all should be. Like now, there's no point in. Let's just, we got Jalen Hurts. Let's run this out. What we got? We got some young pieces, and we're tooling it. Let's just see what we got this year, and let's evaluate it that way. Have a golden opportunity, even with this guy, to give him all the best possible pieces and give yourself, as a franchise, the best team that you could possibly put out there, as opposed to being lazy and irresponsible, and then trying to buy yourself time for the next year with this Jalen Hurts project. And it's like, okay, that's it. The division is so bad, I'm still gave him 7 wins. Probably gave him 3 good wins too many. I mean, maybe 4 wins too many. Who knows
Yeah.
if the team would be a 3-14 team, Wouldn't be surprised, like, this is a bad division, man. I'm just being generous on the aspect of these are NFL players, and they will at some point decide to play with a little pride. That's all I'm giving them. So
They're playing for
therefore,
that
you
next
should
contract,
get 7
not
wins,
pride.
right? You should get 5 wins. I mean, damn, is it too much to ask? And you gonna do? Y'all gonna take the under on this and prove me wrong and get 2? Like, seriously? I'm like, man, you really are. You really have lived up to who y'all are.
What are the Vegas odds for Philadelphia's win total?
Here we go with the Vegas odds. Let's see where I'm at. Let's see how over I am. I was only 1 over last week. Since I was stretching it with 10 wins with New England.
Let's see. Sorry. You gotta go to FanDuel for this.
Here we go.
FanDuel, if you want to sponsor us, please.
Man, that'd be wonderful.
I see you're handing out checks left and right. I'll definitely take one.
What promos do we have to speak on their behalf?
You send it to me. I'll say whatever I need to. All right. NFL win totals. Gotta find Philadelphia. Gotta put on my glasses because I can't read.
Wow.
They are sitting at come on.
Wow.
6.5.
Boom. And I say 7.
I guess I'm going under because I took 6.
I'm always on the higher end, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
Oh no, sorry. No, I was right. 6.5.
Okay, 6.5, and I had them at 7 wins. See, I'll take round it up.
Yeah.
It just take it. There's a science to this. It's called basic arithmetic.
I mean, me and you were both technically spot on. 6, 7 wins. Like I guess
You
somehow
take the lower end of your range, and I tend to just take a little more of the higher end. It's just for whatever reason. It's just what I see versus what you see. It doesn't even matter why you take it on the. I don't even have a problem with it. That's what I'm saying. If the variation is like 2 games, I'm like,
yeah.
It's one thing to be like, what you. Yeah, Buffalo, they 6 wins. Come on, dude. You don't even have a conversation. Moving on, get this guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that this division is not a fun one. I don't think that there's going to be too much.
Nothing coming out the East is fun on either side.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the AFC East is a little bit more interesting because.
I didn't say it wasn't. I just said ain't much fun coming out of the East.
Yeah. Well, fair.
Well, go ahead.
No, the East Coast of the NFL is going to be pretty. I think is going to be pretty chalk,
especially when it extends all the way to Texas. Moving on. I just thought it was my pun about these damn divisions, but go ahead.
All right, let's wrap things up here. Let us. Oh, do you have a question of the day, or?
I don't do it. I haven't been doing it for these takes just yet. You've been kind of doing the over and under, which I've been nailing, by the way.
Yeah. Well, then let's leave it at that. Over under for Philadelphia. What do you guys think about this team? Because I think that they absolutely are putrid.
And what is the number set at again?
6.5. So you can't be. You're not pushing on this one.
All right. Decal.
So let's leave it at that. Thank you guys again for listening. Go follow us on Twitter at @the_square pod. Like, rate, subscribe, and please do share as well. And we will catch you guys in the next one.
Have a good night.